Coming up on this episode of the Spiro podcast.
So I tell my agents that all the time. Leverage your time and let someone who is arguably better at this than you are take over for you.
Welcome to the Spiro podcast, managing your real estate photography and videography business. With your hosts, Todd Kivimaki and Craig Magro.
Hi, and welcome to the Spiro podcast, managing your real estate photography and videography business. Spiro is a software platform. It's designed to help you manage your day-to-day real estate media business and ultimately help it grow and scale. I'm Craig Magrum, host of the podcast. Glad to have you back this week if you're a returning listener or viewer. And if you're brand new to the podcast, like we said, this whole podcast idea is to help you build a strong real estate media and marketing business in order to be a benefit to your realtor clients and brokerage clients. So we like to celebrate wins. If you've got some wins that you've experienced lately, leave us a comment in our comments here on the YouTube channel, or if you want to drop us an email, you can email us hello@spiro.media. We're trying to build community here, help each other in our real estate media businesses, and we want to see you win. So we hope this is a benefit to you. Great topic this week. Let me introduce our co-hosts. I'm going to say a co-host, plural. Todd Kivimaki, owner of Spiro Media, and Shannon Landers. Todd and Shannon, good morning.
Good morning.
Craig, fabulous to be here. Hey, I love that we're starting off at wins. Like, post your wins below, y'all. I had a tech talk last night, and if you're wondering how to catch those tech talks with me, you can join the Spiro Super User Facebook group, and the schedule's posted on there. So we come, we hang out, we talk all things Spiro, but really we talk just business. We talk life, and it's just great to connect with you guys. And for some reason, this is the first time I was like, hey, if you got a win this week, post it in the chat below. And we had fabulous things happening, Craig. Like, that's cool. People saying like they attended a broker open house or they attended a networking meeting. And these were like seeds that were planted a year or two ago, Casey shared. And another individual who said that they got in front of the whole team and had their agent that was working with them introduce and refer them to others in a group setting. And it was such a great win. And I was like, were you nervous as could be? You tell me you didn't sit in your car in the parking lot and second guess if you should actually go in. He was like, I was terrified. Yep. I was like, what a good win for you. Like, that is you as the business owner doing what your business needs to do. And when you do that, you gain momentum, and momentum is fun. Like, that is when you can say business is fun, but you have to push the ball up the hill enough to get momentum. So let's see if collectively as a community, we can get momentum and cheer each other on and pick each other up when we have something that's not such a great win, as I get attacked by flies here if you're watching me on YouTube. But post them in the chat below, and we'd love to celebrate with you.
Absolutely. Yesterday's tech talk was a lot of fun.
Very cool.
Join us there too. Like, don't forget, because you can listen to it at least while you're driving. So don't feel like you have to, and please don't be like texting and driving. Like, we do not promote that ever. So, but you can listen to the tech talks, and you can always submit us questions, guys. This is another thing. We would love to hear what you want us to talk about on the tech talks. So submit questions, submit them on the Facebook user group, email us, whatever. Skywrite, just let us know what you want to hear.
Skywrite? Is that like a plane with the smoke?
Yeah, the plane with the sky, skywriting. Yeah.
I'm starting to think, is this a new social media platform that I'm clueless on? I'm getting old.
Good.
I'm getting old.
Good
it
Lord,
was the first social media platform, Craig.
Right. Smoke signals. Yeah. Oh, very cool. All right. Well, we got a great topic that Shannon and I teased last week. We're going to introduce our guest in just a few minutes, but Spiro. Yeah, Todd, you have some Spiro announcements and updates to go over. So I'll hand it over to you.
I do. Just give me a clock of 60 seconds, Craig. Spiro updates 23rd of September 2025 will launch. The big thing is Titus. This is pay at close, optional. It's just going to release the 20 early testers for us, okay? So 20 of you, you'll know who you are. You've signed up on the early release form. Probably about 2-3 weeks after that release, everyone can get in. This is not only pay at close, this is also credit card processing. Will save you money on Stripe processing because this is more affordable, but also you're going to get payout quicker. Along with that, a couple other things are coming. The complete revamp of the mobile version of the property website editor. That's just so you can, if you need to expedite or QC and deliver your media on the road the next day, you can. It's going to be fully mobile friendly. And a few other things in there as well. We'll have full release notes, but I do want to get to reminding you that if you have not booked your ticket for Rep 2025, you should. That's the conference in November. Please check them out, repteam.com, search for their conference. And if you want to go to another conference this year, Spiro, we are holding our first conference. So we're calling it the Spiro Sync, January 22nd and 23rd. You will all have a link and we'll advertise that here very soon for you to jump on the list and buy your ticket and find out more information.
Awesome. Exciting stuff.
Very exciting.
All right. Shannon.
I'm so excited.
We talked last week towards the end of the podcast. You had the brilliant idea of getting a brokerage's input on marketing for our fellow real estate media partners and colleagues in this industry. And you had a guest in mind. I'm going to turn things over to you and let you introduce this week's guest and topic.
Oh, I get introduced. Okay, this is fun. This is exciting. Okay, so I figure, I always joke and say, let's hear it from the horse's mouth, right? So not that I'm calling our guest a horse. So let me just be very clear in that I am not calling him a horse, okay? But why not listen to the agents and to the marketing people and that are at the brokerages to help us figure out either where we want to go, maybe where we don't want to go, and how you can connect with that brokerage as a media provider. Okay. So I have had the pleasure in my career of knowing some amazing marketing people, and this guy is one of them. So he started at Keller Williams a few years ago. I'll let him tell how long because I can't remember. And he's amazing. His name is Steve Helton. He is the director of marketing at Keller Williams Advisors and Pinnacle Group. We have the luxury of having 4 market centers in our umbrella, which actually is really cool and maybe overwhelming at times. Steve can probably share with that. But he gets to work with over 650 agents and help them with their marketing. And so without further ado, Steve Helton, welcome to the podcast. We are so excited you're here. Why don't you share just a little bit about you and your background? He is also an agent, so he'll share some of that too. So I'm going to pass it over to you, Mr. Steve.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks so much.
Welcome.
I've been called worse than a horse though. So that
I wasn't calling you a horse. I really promise.
So my name is Steve Helton. I'm the director of marketing for Keller Williams Advisors and Pinnacle Group. A little bit about me and kind of how I got to this position. I started out actually as the director of a music school. And as the director of the music school, I ran the entire program from hiring and firing teachers to searching for students and advertising all of our events. So with that came just a ton of natural marketing, kind of hands-on job experience. And I ran that for about 6 years. It kind of combined my passion for graphic design, which I went to school at Miami University with a degree in English and creative writing. I had a focus in communications, so those kind of feed into it as well. I was in bands in college, and someone had to design the flyers and the T-shirts. So I taught myself the Adobe platform. And keep in mind, this was before Masterclass, and you could buy Google Coursera and stuff like that, right? So there was a lot of trial and error. So I'm self-taught with all of the Adobe platforms. and used that in my my career as the director of the music school that I was a part of. While I was there, I actually had a gentleman who I knew in college. I swept out houses, new construction houses. And this gentleman, his son came to my music school and he was like, "Hey, man, I've always thought you should be a real estate agent. I've told you that you should be a real estate agent. Why haven't you ever taken my advice?" And I was just in the position. I said, "You know what? I'm going to take your advice. I'm going to go ahead and get my real estate license." So I got my real estate license, and I was doing that very, very part time as I was still the director of the Learning Center. And then one day, COVID happened, and I woke up and the school was shut down. And just like that, I was a full time real estate agent. I didn't have another job. And as crazy as that time was, what a silver lining, because it put me boots to the ground. Hey, I've got bills I have to pay. How do I pay them? I've got this experience in marketing. I know what I need to do. Now I have the time to do it. So I did that, and I went into production for myself. I spent about a year and a half doing full-time production. My first year of doing full-time, I closed on 14 deals, which I was very happy with. And that was 5 years ago. Those 14 deals now would have paid a lot more. But still, it was good money. But I did have kind of like, I kind of missed working and helping people. I've always been, had like a teacher mindset, and I did miss that part. So when I found out that my own brokerage, Keller Williams Advisors, was looking for a director of marketing, it felt like this would be just an amazing, like, marrying of my two different lives, being able to teach and work in graphic design and marketing, while also being able to like keep my feet in the real estate world. So I've been the director of marketing for almost 4 years now. I'm still in production. I don't do a ton of marketing for myself because my main focus is making sure that I am helping the 650 plus agents that we have. But I do absolutely have my feet on the ground. I'm still out there, closing several deals a year, staying hip to all of the new trends, and all of that helps me be the best director of marketing that I can be.
Yes, and he is. He's great. I love his design. Him and I chat all the time about how, it's fun to create branding, right? Like when you're branding agents and they get excited about it, right? Like that is a really fun thing. So Steve does an excellent job, and I've been thankful to know him for these years. So what I love about this podcast is now, we get to share this knowledge with all of our media professionals, and they can input this into some of their business, right? So, Todd, do you have any burning questions off the top of your head? I see your
I do. I'm just noting them down because my memory is not. Well, so just a couple simple ones. So I think one thing in serving our clients as real estate agents, as a real estate photographer, it's that we need to actually know and understand what they do. And I think one thing that there's some terminology that Shannon and Steve, you guys just use second nature, but you guys referred to a market center. Can you just help us? What is the market center in the Keller? Is that a Keller Williams thing? What is that inside the ecosystem? Just so our listeners know.
Yeah. So your brokerage is kind of your big umbrella. So you've got your Coldwells and your Keller Williams, and then each one of those are independently owned and operated. But there are some small brokerages that are that is as high at corporate as you can get, if that makes sense. Market center is a Keller Williams term. Shannon, do you know, do other bigger brokerages refer to that as well?
No, KW is the only one I know that they call it a market center. Keller uses a lot of vernacular. When you come to Keller, you are drinking from a fire hose on the terminology. And it's fun. And I like that they actually call it market centers. The point is that it is a market center of agents. It's a market center of real estate. And honestly, the way Keller Williams runs their franchises, it's a market center to make money. And so they call them market centers. And it is a only KW thing. Everybody else calls them offices or brokerages. And that's it. So, but yeah, the KW's vernacular is 5 pages long.
for like as a broad scope, KWRI, so KW Regional International is the highest tier you can go, and then you've got your regions, and then inside those regions you have, at that point, that's where you're kind of getting into your individual names, which is kind of like, that's like where you find like your brokerages, right? Mm-hmm. So I am a part of specifically Keller Williams Advisors Realty. That's where my personal real estate license is held. That is divided up between 3 different offices that kind of work together, but also work independently of each other. And then I'm also the director of marketing for Keller Williams Pinnacle Group, which is a different owner, but the same leadership team that runs it. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that's where you get OPs and TLs, Todd, and all sorts of things. An OP is an operating principal. That is pretty much the one leading the charge, probably has the most dollars invested into the market center. And market centers have investors, typically 2 to 3, 4 agents that have rolled up and been investors. So Sarah is one of our main investors. And as long as there's common ownership, then at least in Ohio, you can brand the same, which brings more market power.
Gotcha. So your OP is equivalent to your owner?
Essentially,
okay.
Yeah.
And then is that person always another term like your broker in charge, or is that sometimes someone different?
That is someone different, especially at Keller. Now, other brokerages, that could be the same. But at Keller, brokers are typically. Now, a broker could be one of those investors, right? So very clear, like that. At many Kellers, the broker is an investor, but they're not the leader. Now they're the leader of the real estate rules. Steve, is that right? Is that the best way to say that?
Yeah, you're nailing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. That's super helpful, because I think one thing is that when you go into any of these offices, you have to understand how they operate. Like if you're talking to the wrong person or not talking to the decision maker, then you're kind of just wasting yeah, it's just like you're not going to get anywhere with it. So, and I think Keller Williams definitely, I know Shannon, you really helped me understand the Keller Williams as we have a broker deal actually with Steve's office and offices. So I just wanted to share that, because typically Keller Williams offices are the most difficult broker deal to get.
Yes.
So and we won't go into broker deals today. It might pop up here. If you have questions, let us know about broker deals. We've done a lot of podcasts on them, but typically your Keller Williams operate differently. So you have to think differently to speak their broker language. I use that phrase all the time. You have to speak their language, or they're going to look at you like, what are you saying? Like, I don't want that thing because that means nothing to me. So it's always helpful in understanding that. Okay, so one other thing I had written down here, Steve, and then we'll get into marketing because I have so many questions. But you had this Cortez burn the ship moment where COVID happened, your other option went away, and that required you to focus. And I know Gary Keller has a book about focus. I love the book. I talk about it all the time. Can you just give us some insight? Because we talk a lot about focus, and I think a lot of listeners out there are in a similar position to you pre-COVID, where they might even be full-time with photography, but they might be doing weddings. I shot over 100 of them. I had it removed from my brain, the memory of shooting weddings. And babies, they poop on you, and families, they have crying kids. But houses, they don't talk back. They're not ready, but they don't talk back. Okay, I'm going on a tangent, y'all. But when I focused, and it sounds like when you focused, that's what really allowed you to really double down and succeed in what you're doing. Do you mind? Can you just share a little bit on what that focus did for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Because you're completely right. Another Kellerism is what you focus on expands. And I truly wholeheartedly believe that. Even before I worked for Keller Williams, I really think that that is one of the things. You know, the saying, the grass is always greener on the other side. No, the grass is always greener on the side that gets watered the most. So really, I mean, that's what it comes down to. Having like the ability to say, okay, today I don't have to worry about getting my kids ready for school because they are working virtually during COVID. I don't have to worry about, fighting traffic to get to the office because I don't have another job anymore. All I have to do is um, time block my day and actually make it work. The biggest thing that I think helped me focus the most was the idea of replace then erase. So this was something that was taught to me by one of my productivity coaches before COVID even happened, but it stuck with me. If I have my daytime blocked and something, I have something there that I realize I'm not going to be able to get to at that time, or I'm not going to be able to get to at that day. Before I erase it, I have to write it down somewhere else. So I have to make sure, and I try not to kick the can too far down the road, right? So I had a rule that it had to be done within 24 hours. So no more than the next day. And that could have been anything. That could have been whether, if it's something as simple as checking market trends on the MLS, or if it was something more extensive like, making contact with 10 people in my personal database. I made sure that I replaced it, wrote it down somewhere else, and then I erased it. And then I also made sure to write in what I did there. That way I knew, oh, hey, every time I erase, I'm erasing because I realized I had to mow the grass because, that falls to the wayside. Or, oh, every time I erased, I realized that I was picking up a click list from Kroger's, whatever it might have been. And then that way, over time, I could plan ahead, right? At what point is it worth it to you to pay for the Kroger delivery service instead of the click list? At what point is it worth it to you to hire someone to cut your grass? Those are all like individual questions and challenges. But if you can truly write out your day and focus on it, I absolutely believe that is what will expand. Your business will expand.
Yeah, I so love that. Thank you for sharing that, Steve, because I think that there's so much value in there. And one thing I want our listeners to understand is some of the things that he was saying. Now, Steve, we're all in this room creatives, okay? So we, as creatives, we like to sometimes go back and we like to overwork and fine tune something that might be done. We might want to make it look a little bit better. But the thing that Steve told us all, what did he mention when he had time to focus, was calling 10 people from his database. He didn't say I need to go back and rework my personal logo. Okay. And so is that what what you're telling us, Steve, is the actual action. So the focus, but it was actually the level. And we talk about different levels of task, like an admin, a nurse, and a doctor. And when you show into a doctor's office for your appointment, the doctor does not check you in, because if the doctor checked you in, then you would kind of be like, well, what kind of doctor is he? But the doctor focuses on doctor level tasks. So it sounds like not only did you have this burn the ship moment, but you had focus on high level tasks.
You're completely correct. And I will tell you from my experience on the other side of this as the director of marketing, how many times I have somebody wants a custom business card, and I'll send them the proof, and we'll say, here's your business card. And they'll say, that looks great, but could you move my name like half a centimeter to the right? I'm like, sure. And we send them another proof, and then they come back and, that is good, but also maybe change it black instead of red. Listen, I will make those changes for my agents. I will do that all day long because I love them and I want them to be happy. But yes, those are the things that, like, at the end of the day, the color of the name on your business card is not going to get you the $1 million deal that you want. It's not. So Yes, being very purposeful and thinking about what are the high level tasks that we all know we have to do. Maybe they're not the most fun or like the most beautiful things, but yeah, they're the high level ones.
The 80-20 rule. Todd, have you talked, you guys talk about the 80-20 rule a lot, right?
I love the 80-20 rule. Yeah.
Yeah,
As
and that's
someone
the
who
thing.
is typically lazy, I love the 80-20 rule.
But it's just very true, right? Like you've got to live, in what is going to bring you the most power, right? In your business. And so detailing out and detailing those tasks out and getting down to what's going to move the needle is just so critical. And so Steve and I are very blessed and thankful. I think I speak for both of us. We love KW. We do love the mindset. Mindset's everything in all of this at the end of the day. And so they really lean into it. So again, people might say, drink the red Kool-Aid, drink the blue Kool-Aid, drink the Kool-Aids, whatever. Well, listen, if you're drinking Kool-Aid and you're getting where you want to go, baby, keep drinking that Kool-Aid. So it's all good.
All right, Steve. So, we as photographers, as videographers, as the creatives, we kind of live in a certain creative world, and we don't always know the ins and outs of how a realtor's day goes. When how your day goes as a director of marketing, and how that relationship between you and the realtor in the brokerage, that relationship connects. So to help us as the creative side, as the photographers, as the marketing team understand your business a little bit better, can you kind of step us through what it looks like when an agent lands a new listing and comes to you for marketing advice or marketing help or support? What does that relationship look like? What are you coaching them on or helping them with? Can you walk us through that?
Absolutely. So there's a couple of things. The first is, I think the most obvious is they have to have material or systems in place to market the property, right? And when I tell like agents is, you're not just marketing the property, you're marketing your seller's wants and needs. You can market a buyer's wants and needs, right? But in this situation, you're marketing your seller's wants and needs. Their wants and needs are they want to sell their home, or they need to sell their home because they want to buy another home, or they need to sell this home because they want to retire, and they need to sell this home because they want to use the equity to send their kid to college, right? So you really have to kind of think it's not just the property, it's your seller's wants and needs that you're marketing. Not that you're going to go put that out on the internet, right? Like, hey, my seller is trying to sell this home because they want to send their kid to college. But understanding that, like understanding the want and need of your seller is like priority number one. Then it comes as simple as being prepared to actually market the property. So for me, what that looks like is before they have a listing, we try to get them to understand the essential things they might need, like yard signs, directionals or lead-in signs for sale or open houses. Business cards are great, but even things like property flyer templates or postcard templates that they can easily plug in the photos into in order to market the property correctly. What a lot of agents do is they wait until they get their first listing, and all of a sudden their listing is going live and they don't have any of these things ready. So then at that point, we're rushing. And do you really want the property to go live before you have a chance to put your sign in the yard? No, right? Because every one of these listings is an opportunity to have these little tiny listing babies that pop out. And if we don't have it proper, if we don't have our information on it, it's going to be much harder to turn those listings into our own business. The best way to put it is McDonald's doesn't wait until somebody orders a cheeseburger to then go buy the meat to make that cheeseburger, right? They've got the meat in the back. They've got it all right there. So not that you need as an agent to go spend a ton of money on yard signs, but making sure you know where that yard sign is coming from, whether that is borrowing one from your brokerage or having one personally made. Making sure that you've got and you know what is your strategy for directional signs, what is going to be your strategy for open houses. That's all kind of step one. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So from there, what we have seen a lot recently is, to be honest, a lack of marketing. Because why? Because houses are or were selling themselves, right? If you have a house that you have beautiful pictures of and you put it online, you were getting offers, and you were getting offers in hours, if not minutes. You were getting offers sight unseen or sight, not bodies, physical bodies not being in the house. And you were getting them for over asking with waived inspections.
Crazy. It was crazy town. I'm still waiting for all the lawsuits to start happening. I'm telling you, they're going to happen. Lawyers are going to start getting real rich. All these people that bought all these houses without inspections, and then they're going to try to sue, and they're not going to have a leg to stand on.
Yeah.
So, but lawyers are going to take their money anyway and give it a shot.
Right.
So,
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all of these things were really preventing people from marketing the homes. And when you're marketing your buyer or your seller's wants or needs, you're marketing your own business. And that is literally how you are going to grow. So what I have told all agents recently, well, forever, but they're just now starting to listen, is every home that you list, not only do you need to have everything from step one that we talked about, but you need to plan on, number one, doing an open house. I am a full believer of open houses are good for the real estate industry. Open houses show confidence in the market. It shows, hey, look, this is going to be potentially a good deal for both sides. It is truly a win-win situation. Some people are like, oh yeah, but my property is going to sell before I have an open house. Have the open house anyway. There's nothing wrong with having the open house after it's gone pending. And also, if you plan to have an open house that opening weekend anymore, it's not selling. Average days on market is longer than 3 days now, right? So if you're going live on a Thursday, you should absolutely be having an open house on a Saturday or Sunday. I have an agent who is out of our Cincinnati office, and I don't want to name drop her just because I want to respect her personal privacy, but she's a rookie. This is her first year, and I met with her yesterday, and she has 5 houses under contract right now. And I asked her, like, oh my gosh, that's awesome. How did you get 5 houses under contract? And she said, well, 4 of the 5 came from open houses, as in people that they are meeting at open houses who are unrepresented. And why are they unrepresented now? Because there is a buyer brokerage agreement that has to be signed, right? And the only way to view homes without signing a buyer brokerage agreement is to go to open houses. So you're seeing a lot of unrepresented people walk through these houses. And by having those conversations, she's been able to convert them into real business. So open houses. I know that I went off on a tangent there, but open houses are good for our industry. What do we all need? Listings. So real estate agents don't just need buyers or sellers. They need listings on the market. If there were more listings on the market, their buyers and their sellers would actually both benefit from that. So, the ideal market is when there are slightly more buyers than there are sellers, right? So, but we need to get those listings on so that we can build confidence in our buyers again, so that the buyers are going to want to buy. So having those open houses I truly believe will help not just your own personal business, but help the industry as a whole. I also think that, we could talk all day about social media, but if you're not running some sort of targeted ad, and by targeted, I mean you're defining an audience inside the Meta platform of who you want this ad to go to, geographically, based on what their search history is, whatever, you're absolutely dropping the ball. This is a super, super passive, low expense way to not only get your name out there, but potentially get leads.
Steve, you used a term that I loved, and you used the term listing babies. Can you explain that to our listeners?
Absolutely. So it's a proven fact that every time a house lists, 2 other homes within the area are likely to also hit the market. Okay. And obviously that's not like a 100% of the time, but it is pretty trackable. And if you are not turning the current deals that you have into more business, you are missing out on a huge opportunity. And what I mean by that is, if I have a home for sale, and whether it sells for $10,000 above asking in 1 day or $5,000 below asking in 20 days, if I'm not marketing that home correctly and using that momentum to tell my success story one way or another, through social media, through postcards, through door knocking around that area, I'm not going to get any more business from that area. You have to do that, right? You have to. One of my favorite things to do for an agent is when they have a home sell and they're the listing agent, they had a home sell and it was in multiple offers. Okay, so there's more than one person who wants to move to this area, right? There's more than one person who wants to move to this neighborhood. So doing a campaign where we reach out to the neighbors and we say, hey, look, we have buyers who still want to move to this neighborhood. What would be a good time for us to talk to see if your home would be a good fit, right? That is like such a powerful thing you can do, because it's true. You've got buyers. There are people out there who want to move to that neighborhood, and getting, that's just one of many ways to turn that listing into other pieces of business. And the other way is to tell, like I mentioned earlier, tell the success story, right? Tell the success story. I'll tell you, how many years ago selling a house in 20 days for 5,000 under would have been a success, right? To me, it's still a success.
In it, yeah.
It absolutely is. Yeah. It absolutely is. But, being able to market your seller's win on social media and showing people the life that you changed will make them want to work with you and get you more business, get you more listings or buyers.
So there's a couple of things you've mentioned in there, Steve, that I'm thinking from the photography company or the real estate media company's perspective that I would love your input on. And the first thing you mentioned was professional pictures, something that you suggest to your realtors and agents. But I would argue that most, I think, are doing professional photos now, but there are still realtors out there that are kind of doing their own cell phone pictures, things like that. What advice would you give to a real estate media company that is looking to build a relationship with you as the brokerage or the company to partner and to offer value to those realtors and help educate them on the importance of professional photos or even video walkthrough tours, things like that? How do you coach the agents, and what kind of relationship and qualities are you looking for in a real estate media company that could bring that value to your realtors?
That's a really great question. So the first thing is, like, I truly come from like we were talking about earlier when I said, at what point is it worth it to have someone mow your grass for you, right? Just leveraging your time. I mean, just leveraging your time right there is, I mean, how long is it going to take a real estate agent to go through and get the right angles with their phone, or get the angle of the bathroom where they don't see the mirror, or you know what I mean, or the toilet paper that they very clearly missed, or whatever. All of that time adds up. All of that time adds up. So when I'm talking to an agent, I just tell them, like, hey, look, be smart and leverage your time. This is a business expense. This is a business expense, right? I equate it to, if I were having a home built, I'm going to go ahead and pay someone to paint it professionally. I'm not going to look at them and say, hey, how much if you don't paint the house? Let me paint it myself. Like, that's a terrible idea. You're getting a brand new home, right? Let the professionals paint it. Or it's like showing up to a restaurant and being like, hey, is it going to be cheaper if I go back there and cook the steak myself? Let's stay home and cook the steak yourself, right? These are all things that, like, they're professionals for a reason. So I tell my agents that all the time. Leverage your time and let someone who is arguably better at this than you are take over for you. From talking to a photography specialist or photographer, I think the biggest thing that they could probably talk to agents about is easing friction. So what I mean by that is, what kind of red tape are they going to have to jump through in order to get their photos scheduled? Do they have an agreed upon turnaround time? How are they going to be delivered? What is the process for touch-ups or retakes if need be? All of those things, right? And just your general being able to, like, put forward the general expectations that both, like, the homeowner and the real estate agent and the photographer have all of each other, right? You can't expect a photographer to get the best pictures if there is a 300-pound dog running around the house, right? You can't expect the photographer to get the best pictures if there's laundry everywhere, things like that. So I think it's just, communicating with the agents, and maybe even something about as simple as, how is this getting paid, right? Like, when do they get paid? At what point does the agent have to swipe their credit card? Things as simple as that are all things that, and because different brokerages, one of the things we know about real estate agents, there are a lot of agents who do brokerage hop, and they do. And one brokerage might cover the cost of the photography. One brokerage might cover the cost up front, and then you pay them at the end of the month. Other brokerages are completely hands off. So I think making sure that the individual agents know whatever the relationship is that the photographer has with their specific brokerage is probably the most important.
Interesting. A couple questions, Stephen. Thank you so much for sharing. So we talked about removing as much red tape. And I think as a business owner, the more of that we can do and we can make it easy for our clients, the greater success that clients come to you and stay with you. Now, do you, in your opinion, see that it's an advantage that an agent does not have to pay up front for media, and say that they could potentially pay at close? Is that removing some red tape, or is really swiping the credit card at the beginning not a problem? Do you, and I know we're generalizing here, but from your perspective, working with over 600 agents, is there a consensus that you have a gut instinct on?
Yeah, I honestly do believe that a majority of agents would much rather pay after the fact versus paying up front. There are going to be the agents who are very fiscally responsible and have no problem swiping their credit card right there, and they want to get their points or whatever right up front. But
there's 7 of them, right, Steve? There's 7 of those. 7 of them. Sorry, if there's agents listening, I'm sorry. It's just a joke.
Listen. I always tell people, like, I'm a real estate agent, so I can make jokes about real estate agents, right?
That's right. That's what I say too. I'm like, hey, I can pick on us.
Yep.
I mean, I coached him for 4 years. Like, I
Yep.
think I need to write a book. I'm pretty sure I need to write a book.
So that being said, yes, I think paying after the fact, even if it's not when the house closes, even if it is just, with their brokerage at the end of the month, I think it's a huge help, especially with some of these agents who, if this is their first deal or even their first couple of years in the business, if, they might look at this as, okay, well, every penny is going to help me transition from whatever job I'm currently into to a full-time real estate career. And so for those people, swiping that card up front could be an issue, right? I mean, that was one of the hardest things I had to do was when I was working dual career, was not touching the money that I got from the closing, that like my very first closing. It was leaving that money alone. And it was hard to not touch it, right? Like, it's there. So yes, so I definitely think having it at the end of the transaction is going to benefit most real estate agents.
Yeah, and they can spend money on marketing, right? Like, that's where my brain goes. Like, oh, if I can pay for this at close, or even like me, like I had the ability, like I just got my invoice, so my listings from last month are on my invoice. But guess what? I get paid next Thursday for that listing, and then my invoice gets paid on the 20th. So I'm solid. Like, I'm not really paying for it, right? It gave me that time. So then I ran ads because I had other dollars to spend.
I love that. I mean, that's such a good point. Yeah, it's freeing up some resources, right? So not having that expense at the front. I never want an agent to be like, oh man, I'd really like to get this listing, but I can't afford to get photos right now. It's like, no, dude, get the listing. Like, right? Like, that's what we call, I had a manager who said this in the past. It was, they're passing up dollars.
Yeah.
But passing up pennies or something, I don't know. But yeah, that's what it feels like, right?
Yeah, stepping over dollars to pick up pennies.
There we go. That's it.
Todd loves to say it.
I do love to say that.
And that's. I mean, yeah, that's right there. That's what that, to me, that's what that is, right? So.
Yeah. And this is no different than any other business, y'all. Like, think about a business that produces a product. And say they are in Walmart or a big retailer and they get a PO, a purchase order, and it's for $1 million. The cost of goods is $1 million. Their finance, that's almost money in the bank. Like, if they know it's going to sell through, that money's going to come back. Maybe 2 million's coming back, but they have to pay $1 million now to make the product. So this is really no different. I think leveraging that, and there's many ways you can do it, through a broker deal, through Titus. And some of your agents are doing this just by swiping their Amex card. They get the points and they pay it in 30 days. So this is really, I know that Titus is the big thing right now because we're launching it, but this is no different than any other business where you're just trying to mitigate some of your cost up front. So when you get paid, no problem. I'll pay this percentage and I'll take the rest as my profit.
I think remembering that any professional who is working with a real estate agent, you're in business to business. It's not business to consumer. It's business to business. Does that make sense?
For sure. Yeah. So with that, Steve, you have a ton of agents that come through and you hear say there's an agent not working with a professional right now, or say they are a little bit unhappy with their current and they want to look for another media provider. In your opinion, how are they finding that provider?
I feel like they are finding it from referrals from other agents in the office, more almost 99% of the time. That's where they're going to. I do not think anyone is necessarily just hitting the search engine and seeing what pops up and reading reviews. I think they're going to go with real referrals from other agents. And maybe a branch off of that is if they are seeing properties on the MLS that are beautifully done, maybe they see that is by, and it's listed by someone else in their office. Maybe that agent will be proactive and reach out to that agent and say, hey, who did your photos? These are great.
Love that. So Steve, if you were, and thank you for that. So I'm going to push a little bit more. So if you were a real estate photographer, what would you do so that your name spread and you could grow your real estate photography business? Single action or actions would you see valuable?
I think just the same as real estate agents, I think you have to ask for referrals. I think, who do you know that I should know, right? Who else is in your office that you feel like could use my services? And it is when I'm telling real estate agents about how to ask for referrals, I'm telling them, hey, you got the house under contract. Once they're under contract and they're really happy, plant that seed of, hey, I'm so glad we got this under contract. Just so you know, by the end of this, I'm hoping to give you like such a good experience that when you close, you've got the name of somebody else who might want to use my services. Obviously, we are dealing with a 30-day, maybe 21 to 45-day time period of being under contract that we have time to plant those seeds. And I know photographers have less of a time. But if you're not asking, I don't know that you're gonna get them.
Can you say that one more time, Steve?
If you're not asking, I don't know that you're going to get them. I mean, I think that's what it comes down to.
So I can't just throw a referral code into your account portal and expect you to use it?
No. And listen, right? There's the 7 agents who might, right? But I mean, yeah, I think a majority of it is I don't think in real estate there is a secret sauce. That's one thing that I have found is there's not a secret sauce. Everyone is kind of eager to share who they like to use. All of the real estate agents, they are, not that they're just going out there singing their praises, but no one is going to say, oh yeah, I want to keep this photographer to myself, right? They're going, they want to share them, I think.
Majority, yeah. You got the few that are probably 90 that say, oh, I'm not going to share. But yeah, I mean, because anymore you can figure out what company it is pretty quickly. So, but there's a few of them out there that think that, that media company is their secret sauce. So what they have to remember, and honestly, this is to any business, you are your secret sauce, right? You are the sauce in your business, right? So, I like that one too, Todd. We might have to make that shirt. You are the sauce in your business. You have to do the little things more that other people are not willing to do. That's it.
Steve, have you ever heard any direct feedback from realtors on why they like the photographer that they're working with besides the quality of the photo or the video? Is there any professional characteristics or even personal characteristics on why realtors like working with certain individuals or companies?
I honestly think it comes down to the ease of ordering and paying. Besides professional quality, right? So if we're leaving that out, I think it comes down to the ease of ordering, paying, and receiving deliverables.
Fair enough. Pretty to the point.
I mean, yeah, and do I think that there is a human element? Yes, I obviously think that people want to talk with people who are friendly. I think that people want to talk with, they want to make sure that they are getting what they paid for. I will tell you, I was going to say it. Maybe I will.
Do it. Come on.
No one will nickel and dime you like a real estate agent.
Wait, what?
No one will nickel and dime you like a real estate agent. I mean, it's the truth. What's this 50 cent charge for? I don't understand. What's this 50 cent charge for? So they want to know what they're paying for is what they're getting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And realtors, they offer a high level of service. I mean, and so if you think of that, they're busy and, so they're looking for that level of service back. And that level of service is different for everyone. So there's not like a 5-step process. Like you'll connect differently. And that is the human element that Steve had mentioned.
Yes.
Steve, as we begin to wrap up here, I'm going to pivot a little bit. What trends do you see for real estate media? Like what's catching your eye? What do you think is valuable as we approach the end of 2025 here?
I don't know that this is necessarily new, but it is certainly not going anywhere. Our attention spans are about that big, right? And I feel like the idea of 30-second video is where we are at. We are this far away from the next video at all times, right?
Yeah.
Like your thumb moves half an inch and you're at the next video. So I think that short, quick cut media, I do still think that there is a time and place for long form, but I think that that is probably the biggest, followed by agents getting in front of the camera. I think that we are in a time and place where if there's a product that is being advertised and I don't see the person who is claiming to have created the product, I think I'm being scammed because it's so easy to film things now, right? Yeah. Like getting in front of the camera is so easy to do. And if there is a company or a business who doesn't have, especially a small business, who is not like actively in front of the camera or actively putting out content, it makes me wonder, how legit are they? How serious are they? What kind of business are they actually like producing if they're not doing these things? So getting in front of the camera. And it's hard for some people because, no one likes how they look on camera or whatever, except for me. There are tons of, that's the truth, right? It can be really, really, really hard and overwhelming. And my biggest thing is respond to the good comments and ignore the rest, right? Like you gotta kind of have a thick skin or get ready for it. But I do think it's really important for agents to get in front of the camera.
Yeah, that is great advice, Steve. Thank you so much for sharing your incredible insight from so many different fields. We got so many different brains of Steve today. So thank you so much for spending time with us today.
Yeah, it's my absolute pleasure. Thank you guys so much for having me. I loved every minute of it.
Well, thank you. Shannon, do you want to wrap us up here? Do you want to give us a little more information about, I know we're pivoting slightly, but let's talk a minute about the Spiro Sync.
Yeah.
Because we've talked a lot about, we haven't really dug into it, but what is it? You are the brains behind it. Do you just want to tell our listeners, like we've said it and people are like, what is that thing? But give us some insight.
What is this thing that we are going to come to? So the idea really, there's a couple things. Todd and I got in a room, we were doing some planning and we were just talking, and I told him, I said, there's some key things about our company that we just can never change. They're core values with us, and we are going to keep them, and we're never going to change them. And one of those was listening to our users to make changes, right? Again, I think Spiro is great because we own a media company, and so we understand the issues. We understand what Steve's talking about, right? We get these things. We have these relationships with brokers, so we get to put that into the system. But there's multiple ways to run a business, so we need to hear from our users how they're using the system. We also can't lose our customer support, just how we want them interacting with our people. They are humans. We want that human-to-human contact, and we just can't lose that. So Todd said something to me, and he said, well, how do we bottle that up? And I'm like, well, we should probably have an event and let our users vote on what we're going to do in 2026. And Todd jumped out of the table and said, yes, this is what we have to do. And so Spiro Sync kind of came and we talked about it. And we were like, we're trying to, of course you want a catchy name, right? Who doesn't, Steve, right? You want catchy, brandy names. And I was like, we're kind of like syncing up together, right? We're syncing with our users, we're syncing our brains, we're syncing thoughts. And we wanted this to be all business too, right? Like this is all business. It's hey, you're going to come help us out with Spiro. Let us know what you want for your business and your platform. But then this is a conference where you get to get around like people, community, and discuss best practices, what isn't working, hear from some others. And so Spiro Sync came together. The idea really behind how we'll operate this event is something that I used to host called either Rebar or Real Estate Bar Camp or RE Bar, however we're supposed to say it. And before COVID, these were done all over the country. They're still done. I think just COVID kind of took a hammer to it and then everybody stopped doing it. But the premise around that is we invite real estate agents to come and to share with each other. And we have people lead sessions. They're just leaders in the topic, right? And then everybody in the room is sharing best practices. Todd, you are part of these events. They are a fantastic time to engage in best practices with your fellow community. And so that is how we're going to kind of operate it. But then we're going to add a little special thing at the end. Because who's tired, and Steve knows this because he goes to lots of KW events, who is tired of going to a really amazing conference and you leave and then you never implement or get done the amazing things that you just listened to, right? Like so hard. So the second half of the second day is all about workshopping the topics, and you get to choose, and you're going to leave this conference with something ready or at least ready to implement or already implemented in your business. So I'm excited. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a lot of different people there. I've been talking already to just different people that are going to come, agents that are going to be teaching us again, like how to sell them, different people from different, brokerages, and just really bringing a lot of awesome subject matter experts, I'll call them, into the conference that we're doing. Now, this first one, I will say, it's going to be really limited attendance. So the registration link is going to come out next week. So it's going to get a little interesting, Todd, on this first one.
Yeah, but we'll do it again. Like Shannon said, we have a limited attendance. And so look out for that link, get in. And we hope we see you all there. January 22nd and 23rd of 2026.
Yes, it's going to be here before we know it, guys. Football started, so that means Christmas is almost here. Although, man, I'm going to tell you guys what. Green Bay.
Last night.
Do they look redonkulous?
Good thing Jordan Love's on my fantasy.
And they're going to be in Dallas at week 4. And that is just marked that game's on my calendar, man. I can't miss that game.
I didn't even check my fantasy lineup. They play football on Thursday, so hopefully I had everybody in that needed to be in.
Well, I have Daniels. And so that didn't bid me well last night. And I actually thought about pulling the cord and pulling them out because Green Bay last week looked so good and I didn't. So yeah, well, I'm probably going to lose the second week in a row, guys. And it'll go down.
We should do fantasy league between like Spiro, or just listeners or just like real estate professionals. That'd be kind of fun that we all got in a league and we all could, there could be a lot of them, but we could all get online.
Yeah, no doubt. Like how many, then you could have the champions of the champions of the champions or something.
Maybe that's an idea for next year.
Well, we definitely should maybe do some fun. There's fun football playoff pools that you can do. Once you get down to the playoffs and it's you have to pick the teams and it's kind of like the NCAA stuff. So we can maybe do some of that. That'd be fun.
Yeah, that might be fun. That'd be good.
Yeah, lots of good things happening, though. I mean, the updates coming are amazing. Titus is really going to help impact our businesses. As Steve said, a lot of agents, they have the ability to pay at close. That's going to be really great for them. And maybe we actually help some new agents get business because of that feature. And that would be really cool.
Yeah, that would be great. Well, Shannon, Steve, thank you so much for your time today. We appreciate all the insight. That's going to do it for us today. We thank you for being listeners. If this was helpful, if you could share this podcast with someone you know, that would help us. It's just a small way to say thank you back to us. We're here for you. We appreciate all of you. Be sure to take time to take a breath and enjoy the blessings you have. We'll see you all next week. Thanks.
Thank you for joining us for the Spiro podcast, Managing Your Real Estate Photography and Videography Business. This is a production of Spiro and Wow Video Tours. You can find out more about Spiro's real estate media business management software at our website, spiro.media.